Welcome back to Horoscope Reads, where every truth cuts straight to the heart. If you crave raw, unfiltered astrology that speaks to your soul, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and give us a thumbs up because here, we don't shy away from the darkness within the stars. Aries, their fearless enthusiasm. Aries bursts into your life like a comet, blazing across a midnight sky, igniting every dormant ember of courage you never knew you had. They demand your attention, not with whispers but with war cries, challenging you to rise or be left behind in their wake. Beneath their roar lies a restless heart that fears stagnation above all else. They burn bright because they dread the darkness of complacency. Yet that same flame can scorch the tender shoots of vulnerability, leaving behind ashes of relationships they once cherished. Their zeal is intoxicating, adrenaline shot for your soul, but it can also blind you to the quieter yearnings of your own heart. With Aries, passion is a battlefield. They conquer with a single glance, but if you falter, they're quick to retreat, leaving you wounded by the abrupt withdrawal. They wear courage like armor, but behind it, they harbor a fragile self-esteem that whispers doubts in the silent aftermath of their victories. When they choose to love, they do so with the ferocity of a thunderstorm, untamed, glorious, and terrifying in its potential to devastate. Yet even the fiercest storm eventually dissipates, and Aries' love, once explosive, can fizzle into memory if not fed by constant challenge. They crave conquest in your mind, your trust, your loyalty, but once the prize feels won, their focus shifts to new horizons, leaving you to rebuild from the ruins. In their blaze of bold promises, they may overlook the subtle artistry of steady devotion, mistaking intensity for intimacy, and when their impulses pull them away, you're left grappling with questions they refuse to answer, their silence as piercing as a dagger. Still, who else could make your heart race simply by uttering your name? Who else dares to drag you into the unknown, daring you to prove you can keep up? Their presence is a shot of pure electricity, but remember, electricity can heal wounds or burn you alive, depending on how it's handled. To love an Aries is to dance on the edge of a volcano, thrilling, breathtaking, and dangerously close to collapse. So tell me, have you felt the searing heat of an Aries devotion and survived? Share your story below, and when you're ready, I'll take you deeper into the steadfast world of Taurus. Taurus, unshakable loyalty and warmth. Taurus enters your life like the first golden rays of dawn spilling across a quiet field, offering a promise of safety and steadiness that your soul has been craving. Their devotion is planted deep, like roots burrowing into fertile soil. So when they choose you, they anchor themselves to your heart with unwavering resolve. They don't shout their love from rooftops. Instead, they build you a sanctuary of small, sacred gestures: a perfectly brewed cup of tea, a blanket folded just so, a hand on your back when the world feels too heavy. In their embrace, you discover that true warmth is not about grand declarations, but about presence, showing up day after day, in both your triumphs and your tears. Yet beneath that comforting exterior lies a steely determination. They guard your trust with the ferocity of a warrior, and betrayal, however slight, can awaken their hidden horns. They love with a patience born of the earth itself. Time means nothing to Taurus, for they measure commitment in seasons, not seconds. But when that patience is tested, when promises falter, or honesty wavers, their silence can grow chilly, like wind rustling through autumn leaves, signaling that something precious is slipping away. Their loyalty is both a gift and a responsibility. To belong to a Taurus means to honor the sanctity of their faith in you, knowing they would move mountains to see you safe and cherished. They marvel at your strengths, but they also see your vulnerabilities and shelter them like delicate blooms, even if it means sacrificing their own comfort to shield you from life's storms. However, beware, their heart is not inexhaustible. If you take their constancy for granted, they may slowly withdraw, not in anger but in wounded resignation, teaching you the cost of neglect. Taurus craves beauty and harmony, and in their love, you become the centerpiece of an art they craft with deliberate care. Your laughter, the melody; your happiness, the canvas. They're sensual to their core, attuned to every texture and flavor. So when they love, every touch, every taste, every whisper becomes an act of reverence. Yet that same sensual devotion can tip into possessiveness. They fear loss like winter fears the sun's retreat, and their desire to protect can sometimes smother the freedom they promise. You learn from Taurus that love is both a tender embrace and a steadfast fortress, strong enough to weather any storm, yet soft enough to cradle your most fragile hopes. To lose a Taurus is to feel the slow erosion of security, as if the ground beneath your feet has shifted, leaving you unmoored in a world that once felt rock solid. So tell me, have you surrendered yourself to the steady flame of a Taurus loyalty and felt its warmth light your path? If you're ready, I'll guide you next into the playful whirlwind of Gemini. Gemini, playful curiosity that lights up a room. Gemini arrives like a breeze through an open window, unexpected, invigorating, full of stories you didn't know you needed to hear. They are twin flames wrapped in one body, constantly dancing between thought and feeling, reason and impulse, leaving you enchanted by their ever-changing rhythm. Their curiosity is boundless, not just about the world, but about you. Every quirk, every contradiction, every silence you become their favorite mystery to explore. Conversations with them aren't just exchanges, they're adventures. One moment you're laughing about something absurd, the next, they're peeling back layers of your soul with a simple question. Their presence is electric. Rooms feel more alive when they enter, as if the air itself sharpens in anticipation of what they'll say or do next. Yet that same electricity can short-circuit their minds. Move fast, sometimes too fast to stay. You'll feel the intensity, then suddenly, distance. Gemini doesn't mean to disappear. They're just pulled by the gravity of new thoughts, new places, new experiences. But when they love you, they always circle back. They show affection not with tradition, but with wit, spontaneity, and an uncanny ability to make you see yourself in ways you never imagined. With them, even the mundane becomes magical. A grocery run turns into a philosophical debate. A late-night walk becomes a journey through your dreams. They're mirrors showing you both your brilliance and your blind spots, but never without humor, never without a twinkle in their eye that says, "You're safe here." But don't expect predictability. One day they're all in, the next they need air. Their love isn't linear, it zigzags, it dances, it redefines itself constantly. And yet, if you let go of control, if you learn to move with them rather than against, you'll discover a love that's alive, awake, and deeply attuned to your mind. There's a chaos to them, yes, but also an intelligence, a sharpness, a heart that wants to understand before it wants to be understood. Sometimes they hide behind humor, using words as shields, but in quiet moments, if you listen closely, you'll hear the trembling truth behind their laughter. To be loved by a Gemini is to be seen, questioned, challenged, and adored all at once. It's to feel your spirit lifted by wind you cannot hold, but will always remember. So tell me, have you ever been caught in the storm of a Gemini's charm and found yourself smiling in the wreckage? If so, brace yourself. Because next comes Cancer, and they don't bring a breeze. They bring the ocean. Cancer, the ocean beneath a gentle gaze. Cancer does not knock on your door, they slip in through the cracks, the quiet spaces, the unspoken aches, and make a home where your walls once stood. Their love is not loud, but it is vast. It does not shout, but it echoes deep, resonant, unforgettable. They offer not just affection, but sanctuary. With Cancer, you don't just fall in love. You return to it, like the tide coming home. Every glance they give you is filled with unspoken concern, every touch laced with intention. They feel you even when you haven't spoken a word. To be held by them is to be reminded of a softness you thought the world had beaten out of you. But don't mistake gentleness for weakness. Beneath their tenderness lies the force of a tidal wave. Cancer will rise to protect what they love, with a fury that can drown even the coldest heart. They are ruled by the moon, and like it, their emotions wax and wane. One moment they're all light and laughter, the next, they retreat into silence and storm. Their sensitivity is both a gift and a shield. They sense shifts in tone, energy, and silence, and if they sense danger, they withdraw before you even realize what's changed. They give so much, sometimes too much, and when they are met with carelessness, the wound cuts deep and festers silently. Cancer doesn't forget pain as they carry it like a pearl inside their shell, hardened over time, but always present. Yet, if you earn their trust, they will love you in a way that makes time feel slower, sweeter. Meals will feel warmer, silence more intimate, and life a little less lonely. They don't just build homes, they are the home. Their presence wraps around your chaos and makes it feel like it belongs somewhere. However, if you cross their boundaries or play with their emotions, you won't see an explosion. You'll see a quiet departure, a door that closes and doesn't open again. They're not made for casual love. They seek soul bonds, connections that root themselves in memory, emotion, and shared vulnerability. To be loved by Cancer is to be held at your worst, seen at your most raw, and still chosen again and again, without hesitation. So tell me, have You ever drowned in the depths of a Cancer's devotion, only to discover you were breathing for the first time? If you're ready, let's rise from the water and step into the firestorm that is Leo. Leo. The fire that demands to be worshipped. Leo doesn't enter a room, they arrive. The air shifts, eyes turn, and suddenly everything else feels a little less golden. They carry themselves like royalty, but not because they think they're above others. Because they believe everyone should feel this radiant. To love a Leo is to stand before the sun. It warms you, blinds you, feeds you, but if you get too close, it might just burn. Their affection is grand. Think fireworks, parades, serenades under moonlight. Leo doesn't do small. They love like the world is watching. But what the world doesn't always see is the fragile flame underneath, the one that flickers with every unspoken rejection. Every moment they feel unseen. For all their boldness, they are deeply afraid of being forgotten, of giving their light to someone who won't reflect it back. Compliments aren't just wanted, they're needed, not out of vanity, but as reminders that their love, their effort, their presence matters. Leo is loyal to a fault. Once they decide you are theirs, they will guard your heart like a crown jewel, even when you don't ask them to, but betray their trust. And it's not just pain, you'll see it's pride scorched beyond repair. And pride, for Leo, is everything. They crave admiration, yes. But what they truly yearn for is someone who sees the child behind the crown. The one who just wants to be loved without condition. In relationships, they are providers of joy. They will make you laugh, believe in yourself, and feel like the main character in your own story. They remember your favorite song, your worst fear, and the exact look on your face when you first said, "I love you." Leo doesn't whisper love, they declare it. They don't hold back because to them, love is meant to be felt, seen, and celebrated. But when they feel underappreciated, they shut down, not with silence, but with dramatic exits and wounded speeches. Still, if you choose them every day, make them feel special, and honor the fire they give you, they'll give you a kingdom of affection in return. So tell me, have you ever stood beneath a Leo's gaze and felt your self-worth rise just from being chosen by them? Hold on. Because next, we descend into the intricacies of a love built not on fire or water but control. Virgo is waiting. Virgo, the architect of a love that fixes, builds, and breaks. Virgo does not fall in love, they construct it carefully, precisely, as if every feeling must pass an inspection before being allowed inside. They won't sweep you off your feet with flamboyant gestures, but they'll know exactly how you like your coffee, and make it before you ask. Their love is quiet but relentless. It is shown through acts of service, thoughtful details, and a desire to improve your life in ways you didn't know were possible. You won't always hear "I love you," but you will feel it in the way they notice. When you're overwhelmed and silently take over the things you forgot to do, Virgo listens deeply, not just to your words, but to your pauses, your stutters, your sighs. They study you not to judge, but to understand. Their need for perfection is not control, it is fear. Fear that if they are not flawless, they will be left. So they sharpen themselves for you. But this same precision can cut. Virgo's critiques, though often well-meaning, can feel like scalpels, cold, calculated, and unexpectedly deep. They don't mean to hurt, they mean to help. But sometimes, love doesn't want to be fixed. Sometimes, it just wants to be held. Virgo gives endlessly, even when it drains them. They will love you like a duty, a devotion, a calling, but will you notice when they're the one falling apart? They carry 1,000 thoughts at once, planning, worrying, revising conversations in their heads. It's exhausting being them, and they rarely let you see that. Emotionally, they are slow to open. They test you, not out of malice, but out of caution. Only the sincere pass through their gates. And when they trust you, truly trust you, they will reveal a soul so soft, so selfless, it will bring you to your knees. But betray that trust, and they won't rage. They'll detach, slowly, methodically, until all the warmth is gone, and all that's left is silence. They believe in love that evolves, that refines, that withstands time. But they also fear love that disrupts their order, their plans, their sense of control. Loving a Virgo means accepting that sometimes the one who looks like they have it all together is quietly screaming for someone to tell them it's okay to be imperfect. So, have you ever been loved by someone who tried to make you better, not to change you, but because they saw who you could be? If so, then you've known Virgo's grace. Now, ready yourself, for next comes Libra, where love becomes a mirror, and the reflection can either heal or haunt. Libra, the mirror that reflects your desires. and hides their own. Libra doesn't fall in love alone, they make sure you fall too, elegantly, effortlessly. As if love were a ballroom and they were born dancing in it. They are charmed dressed as balance, a smile that disarms, a gaze that listens more than it speaks. Libra knows how to make you feel like the most important person in the room. But behind their grace lies a truth few ever reach. They are often everything to everyone, and nothing to themselves. They read you like poetry, anticipate your needs, soften their edges to fit the curve of your world because they fear being too much. Or worse, not enough. Libra's love is magnetic. They will make you feel heard, desired, chosen. But ask them what they want, and you might find silence. Decision terrifies them not because they don't know what they feel, but because choosing one path means disappointing another. Their heart is a scale, weighing logic and longing, pleasure and principle, and often, they carry the weight of others' happiness on both sides. In love, they are givers of peace. They will avoid conflict even when it eats them alive. Not because they are weak, but because they know the cost of chaos. But suppressing storms only makes them grow. One day, the calm becomes too quiet. The peace becomes pressure. They crave a love that is equal, where beauty is not just admired, but understood, where harmony is mutual, not maintained at their expense. Libra will dress up their heartbreak in smiles. They will host your joy while burying their own needs beneath politeness and compromise. Yet, when they are truly loved, seen, not just for their allure, but for their absence of certainty, they begin to bloom. They offer softness in a hard world, elegance in chaos, but their greatest gift is teaching you how to love without domination, without demand. Still, betray their trust, and they won't scream. They'll simply vanish from your messages, your memories, your mirror. Libra doesn't beg to be chosen. They become what's unforgettable, so that even if you leave, you carry a version of them forever. So, have you ever loved someone who made you feel Halette, left you wondering if they ever felt the same? That's the Libra paradox. And next, we fall into Scorpio's shadows, where love is no longer polite, it's possessive, primal, and irrevocably deep. Scorpio, the volcano of love that burns and consumes. Scorpio doesn't do love lightly. They dive into it like a plunge into the abyss. When they love, it's with a force that shakes the very core of your being. Their love is a wildfire, unpredictable and consuming. It can warm you, but it can also scorch everything in its path, including themselves. There is no half measure with Scorpio. It's all or nothing. Passion or pain. Trust or suspicion. Light or shadow. They wear their hearts under armor forged from betrayal and pain, making them fiercely protective but also fiercely dangerous. Scorpio's love is a secret language, whispered in shadows, felt in silent glances and unspoken promises. To love a Scorpio is to accept that jealousy will visit like a tempest. Their intensity can feel suffocating, but it comes from a place of deep fear, fear of loss, fear of abandonment. They don't forgive easily. Their wounds cut deep and bleed slow. Yet when they forgive, it's not forgetting, it's a rebirth, a fierce loyalty that few will ever experience. Scorpio's emotions are oceans vast, dark, and unpredictable. You never know if the tide will soothe you or drown you. They crave complete honesty, not just from you, but from themselves, which can lead to brutal self-examination and sometimes self-destruction. When Scorpio loves, it's transformative. They don't just want to be part of your life, they want to reshape it, to dive into your soul and unearth every buried secret. Their passion can be intoxicating, making you feel invincible and invulnerable. But beware, the deeper you go, the higher the stakes become. Scorpio guards their vulnerability with a venomous bite approach. Sagittarius, the wild flame that ignites and flees. Sagittarius bursts into your life like a bright, unstoppable, and impossible to ignore. Their energy feels like freedom itself embodied, a promise of endless horizons and untamed adventure. Loving a Sagittarius means embracing the wild unknown, knowing that every moment with them is a journey into the unexpected. They chase ideas and dreams with reckless abandon, fueled by a thirst for experience that often leaves stability in the dust. Their laughter is contagious. Their spirit, and with that comes a restless heart that fears confinement more than loneliness. Sagittarius doesn't do chains, not even of love. They crave space, autonomy, and the chance to spread their wings wide without judgment or restraint. To love them is to know the thrill of flight, but also the sting of sudden departure. They don't say goodbye, they simply vanish, leaving behind the scent of wildflowers and possibility. Their love is honest, fierce, and often blunt, no sugarcoating, No hidden agendas. They speak their truth even if it hurts. Because freedom and authenticity are their highest laws. But beneath their optimism lies a fear that settling down means losing themselves. That love might become a cage rather than a compass. When Sagittarius commits, it's with passion and purpose, but also with the understanding that their path may lead them away. No matter how deep the bond, their flame warms like a bonfire, drawing you close, but when it dies down, the cold absence is palpable. Sagittarius teaches us that love isn't possession, it's the willingness to let go, to trust that what is meant to stay will find a way. Their adventurous heart is both a gift and a challenger, call to live boldly but accept that sometimes love's wildest souls are meant to roam. They inspire you to dream bigger, to take risks, and to embrace the unknown with open arms. Yet their absence can feel like a ghost, a whisper of laughter on the wind that lingers long after they've flown. Forgetting a Sagittarius is nearly impossible, not because they stay, but because they leave behind a trail of light that guides you long after they're gone. So, have you loved a flame that burned bright and vanished with the dawn? That is the Sagittarius way, freedom wrapped in fire. Next, we'll dive into the Gemini whirlwind, the charming chaos you never quite escape. Capricorn, the fortress that loves in silence and endures. Through storms, Capricorn's love doesn't arrive with fireworks, it builds slowly, like stone upon stone, until you find yourself encased in a fortress stronger than anything you've ever known. They don't rush into feelings. To them, love must be earned, proved, and tested. But once they give their heart, it's not a gift, a lifelong vow. Their devotion is quiet, but unshakable. You won't find constant affection or loud declarations, but you'll find presence, stability, effort that never stops. Capricorn protects the ones they love with a warrior's heart, silently taking burdens onto their own shoulders so others don't have to feel the weight. Their love is expressed in actions, staying up late to help, working tirelessly for a future, showing up even when they're exhausted. They might seem distant or cold at first, but that's only because they've learned not to hand over their vulnerability to just anyone. To love a Capricorn is to understand the language of silence, of looks that say more than words, and gestures that speak louder than poems. They fear failure more than heartbreak. And sometimes, this fear makes them choose logic over emotion even in matters of love. But beneath their armor lies a heart that craves deep connection, even if it doesn't always know how to ask for it. Capricorn is loyal to the end. Even when things fall apart, they're the ones still trying to fix what's broken long after others have walked away. They love with the future in mind. If they open their heart to you, it means they've already pictured you in there forever. Yet, their strength can feel like distance. They may seem emotionally restrained, but inside, the storms they weather for love could drown the unprepared. They expect a lot: commitment, respect, responsibility, but they also give just as much, if not more. Losing a Capricorn means losing a foundation. You don't just miss their presence, you miss the peace they brought into chaos. They rarely chase after love once it's gone, but you'll feel their absence like a silence that fills every corner of the room. So, have you ever been loved by someone who never said much, but did everything? That's Capricorn love, steady, silent, and absolutely unshakable. Now get ready for Aquarius, the storm of the mind and the rebellion of the heart. Aquarius, the storm of the mind and the rebellion of the heart. Loving an Aquarius is like loving the wind. You can't hold it, but you'll never forget the way it made you feel alive. They enter your life like a spark in the dark, turning your thoughts upside down and your emotions inside out. Aquarius doesn't fall in love traditionally. They question, they observe, they analyze, and then, without warning, they dive deep into a love that defies every rule. What makes them so unforgettable is their vision. They see beauty in chaos, potential in pain, and freedom in the spaces most people avoid. Their mind is an entire galaxy, and loving them means orbiting stars of ideas, passions, and causes that never stop burning. But don't mistake their emotional distance for lack of feeling. Aquarius feels everything, just not in ways you're used to. They don't do possessiveness or control. They love from a place of respect, giving space and expecting the same. You won't always understand them. One moment, they're present and full of warmth. The next, they disappear into their own world, chasing an idea that set their soul on fire. Yet, when they choose you, it's never out of need, it's because you sparked something in them no one else could. Aquarius is the rebel with a heart, defending the broken, speaking for the unheard, and loving in a way that liberates, not confines. Their individuality is sacred. Try to change them, and you'll lose them, but stand beside them, and you'll have a partner who challenges you to grow every single day. They're loyal in their own way. Not always in routine, but in principle and belief, in thought, in presence when it truly matters. They can break your heart without ever meaning to. Their detachment isn't cruelty. It's their armor, forged from a world that often misunderstood their depth. But if you get past their defenses, if you see the soul behind the sharp wit and the fierce independence, you'll find someone who believes love should be revolutionary. Losing an Aquarius is like losing a part of your own mind, the part that dreamed, questioned, and dared to be different. So, tell me, have you ever loved someone who didn't need you but still chose you? Every time. That's the kind of love Aquarius gives. Now hold your breath. Because next comes Pisces, a soul that feels everything and still chooses to love anyway. Pisces, the dreamer who loved you beyond reality. Loving a Pisces is like stepping into a dream where time bends, logic fades, and all that remains is feeling. They don't just fall in love, they dissolve into it. One word, one glance, and they're already halfway into your soul, stitching you into their fantasies. Pisces loves with an intensity that frightens the shallow. Their love is not meant to be contained. It spills over, floods through, and drowns the walls you've built around your heart. They feel what you don't say. They hurt when you pretend. And even when you push them away, they stay because walking away from someone they love feels like tearing their own heart out. The compassion of a Pisces is otherworldly. They'll carry your pain as if it were their own, and still manage to smile through their tears, just to comfort you. But don't let their softness fool you. Beneath that gentle surface lies an ocean of strength. Born from surviving every storm their heart has weathered, Pisces doesn't just love you, they become you. They merge dreams, fears, and hopes with yours, until they can't tell where you end and they begin. They'll write you poetry in their head, love you in 1,000 silent ways, and you may never realize the depth of their devotion until they're gone. Because when Pisces leaves, they don't slam the door, they just drift. Slowly, painfully, like a tide pulling away from the shore it once adored. They'll forgive what no one else would. They'll stay when it's hurting them. And yet, they ask for nothing in return, only that you be real, but betray their love, mock their vulnerability, or treat their dreams like they're silly, and they'll vanish quietly, completely, like a ghost made of stardust. Pisces love is spiritual, sacred, a language spoken not with words, but with glances, gestures, and silence that says more than 1,000 sentences ever could. They won't always fight for you out loud, but they'll battle the darkest parts of themselves just to protect your light. In a world that worships logic, Pisces chooses the heart every single time and suffers for it. Again and again, they are the love you didn't know you needed, and the pain you'll never quite get over. So tell me, have you ever loved someone who saw your scars as stars and stayed anyway? That's the kind of love only Pisces knows how to give. And now, it's your turn. Which zodiac sign's love changed you forever? Which one broke you? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Horoscope Reads, and tap the bell so you don't miss what the stars reveal next. Your story is written in the sky. We're just here to help you read it.